If you've been around my channel for a while, you know there's two things I like changing on my motorcycles ASAP. Number one being the tires, but we already covered these Bridgestone Battle Axe AX41s on the Transalp in a previous video. Make sure to go watch that one if you haven't yet. And number two, and just as important, at least for my riding style, is the windshield. And that's exactly what we're gonna talk about on the Honda Transalp today, is the windshield. As you see, I got the stock one, you all saw my mods, I got the deflectors here, but I'm still getting beat up by the wind. I still feel it on my arms, and I definitely feel it on my head. It's just so noisy, and I got a quiet rated helmets, but it's still noisy, and it's not fun if you got to hit the highways or you got to go long distance. Now, WRS did send out their Caponord, if I'm saying that right, and then also their touring screen. Slight differences as far as the height. So what we're going to do here is throw on the helmet with the GoPro, and we'll go for a ride, and we're going to test every windshield. But I want to kick it off with a stock one. I know a lot of you are familiar with it, and you heard me talk about it before, but I want to get that impressions with the GoPro on. You can probably hear some of the wind differences from windshield to windshield as well. But that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna throw the helmet on, go for a ride with the stock one. We'll do slow riding and then some fast riding, and then we'll go windshield to windshield and get our final conclusions at the end. Even though WRS sent these windshields out, they didn't tell me anything to say. And again, I'm just gonna give you my straight up honest user's feedback here. So kicking it off with the stock Honda windshield, doing basic back road riding, 35 to 40 miles an hour. I do have the wind deflectors on here. They don't make a massive difference, but yes, they do a little improvement. So if you're on a budget, you know, I think they're like 40 or 50 bucks. Yeah, they do take some of that wind off of your arms where it would just cut around here, kind of throws it out to the side there. But as far as a stock windshield, it takes all that wind off your chest, doing that really good. But even going 40 miles an hour, I hear the wind coming across my helmet. Of course, we're going slower, so it's not that disruptive or annoying, but you do notice it definitely on my arms, hitting right here at the crest of my arm where it creases there. And just to clarify, I am right at 6 feet, so I would say average size rider. But the stock windshield, I think it definitely is doable if you're doing this kind of riding, just slower back road riding. I honestly think you're perfectly fine with the stock one. But what we're going to do is we're going to get up here, get on the highway and go faster. And I think that's where it's going to really come into play, especially for those longer rides. So here we go. We are on the highway, and my gosh, I am probably yelling into this microphone. In one of my previous videos, someone said my microphone keeps clipping. It's really because I'm yelling into the microphone. I'm trying not to right now, but the wind is beating just all around my helmet. And I'm using the Scorpion, I forget the name, I'll put it up on the screen, but it's a fairly quiet helmet. Not the quietest out there, but a fairly quiet one, you know. I even used it with the HJC Rappa 70, which is known to be one of the quieter ones, and the same result. And again, I apologize if I'm hollering into the microphone, because right now, just doing this, now as far as it beating up on my arms, it's kind of moved from here up to my shoulders, kind of like above that crease in my shoulders when I'm going faster. As far as that, I mean, I still feel it right there, but I guess it's also moved up to my shoulders. But the biggest thing is like around my helmet. Even if I got my comms on and I'm playing music, it's not fun. And if you're doing this for 2, 3, 4 hours on a road trip, you're just going to go crazy. Again, I'm not a fan of the stock windshield that comes on a Transalp. Now, as far as installing the windshields, obviously it's a no-brainer. You got your 4 Allen screws right there, and then you're just going to screw it back on. Now, one cool little tip or trick that I did on mine, regularly your windshield is going to have these screws sticking out here, but I put those little rubber tips, you know, that go over bolt right there. Bam, you can slide it on. It just finishes it off and looks a whole lot better. So first off, we're going to test the WRS windscreen, and one thing I want to test as we're doing this, again, you all know I got my bark busters on here. I want to test full lock. As you see, we have plenty of space here as well, so plenty fine as far as full lock. So the WRS Touring windscreen, as far as back road riding, again, 40-ish miles an hour. I will tell you what, I don't have my deflectors on here, which, yes, they do fit. And I think I'm going to add that segment at the end of the video. That wasn't in my plans because I didn't think they would fit because the divots were a little bit shallower, but they fit and they look pretty good, which we'll take a look at the end. So right out the gate, one thing I'm noticing going at this speed, the wind is
very, very reduced off my helmet. I feel a little bit up at the top, but not so much at the sides. So I think with the windshield coming out further here at those peaks, it's really reducing that. But I will tell you, I now feel the wind all the way down here on my arm, kind of beating up down there a little bit. I think it's because we lost that little edge over there. So as far as low speed riding, I think it's much improved. Number one, if you're just on the stock windscreen and you don't have those little deflectors that I had from Honda, I mean, this is game changing for sure right out the gate. But I would still, right now, my impressions, again, I haven't tested it with the deflectors, but I can tell you, I really think I'm still going to want my deflectors there just to take a little bit of wind off my arms. I'm not saying I don't like wind. Like, I love wind, and especially living down south, I need a little bit of air coming at me because it's going to get pretty darn spicy. But I do not want the wind beating me up. But I will tell you what, out of the gate right now, this is really reducing that wind as far as back road riding off my helmet. Very nice so far. Now, before we get onto the highway and check the high speed test, the one other thing I told you that really is a concern of mine as far as windshield is being able to see over them, especially being off-road, and of course the Transalp, again, not having an adjustable windshield. Me being right at 6 feet, I can see over this windshield fantastic. I'm not looking through it by any means, and whenever I look down through it, it's pretty pure as far as the vision. I would say where it cuts out and bulges in, I get a little bit of that morphing, but I don't think you're really going to be looking right there. You're going to be looking here or up there, hopefully forward, so you can see what's ahead of you. But I'm just saying right now, at 6 feet, it's going right here. I'd say it's going right into the GoPro as far as my vision, so hopefully you guys can still see plenty fine. But again, I can see over the windshield perfectly fine if I was going to be doing any off-roading. So here we are on the highway test of the WRS Touring screen. And I will tell you, again, me right at 6 feet, I'm still feeling that wind on my head, and I'm still catching myself trying to holler. But one thing I did notice, even back there, because I'm riding a lot more than you're seeing on camera, is wrapping my head around these, right? And the main thing I noticed, again, I'm at 6 feet, but once I ducked down or once I got on the highway and I leaned forward just a little bit, it all removed. So again, if you just duck down like this, it's pretty much gone. I'm still getting a little bit on the side, but I would say, and again, I'm sorry if I'm hollering because I'm still getting some of that wind hitting my helmet here. I would say if you're at like 5'8", 5'10"-ish, somewhere around there, you'll be pretty good, because if I just slouch and duck down a little bit, oh man, this is like prime time. Like, it truly removed it. Like, and if I get centered, it almost removes all of it right there. Like, this is really nice. So I'm hoping the Caponord, or whatever the heck it's called, I'm hoping I get those results as far as my height. But right now, this one, again, on the highway, I am feeling a little bit more of that wind on my arm since we got our deflectors removed, and I am still feeling that wind on my helmet. Not near as much as a stock, but I am feeling it still. So again, I think if your height 5'8" to 5'10", this will be pretty nice. But for me, I don't think the Touring's one is going to be the pick. So now we have installed and we're going to test the WRS Caponord windshield. This is the one that's a little bit taller, but I want to kick it off with the full lock, again with bark busters on. As you see, we have plenty of space, tons of space right there. Definitely comes closer to the dash than the windshield right there. So as far as full lock, perfectly fine. Wow, I can tell you already, this one is making a massive difference. Of course, we're just on our back roads right now, roughly around 40 miles an hour. Just back road testing, and my goodness, I was probably even hollering in my back road test on the other windshields. Now of course you're talking in a motorcycle helmet, so you catch yourself kind of hollering a little bit, at least me. I'm an excited talker, right? Hence the reason I do YouTube. But anyways, I can just tell you right now, it's like I'm in my thoughts. This is taking that windshield, or that wind, not beating on my helmet. I'm still feeling wind. It's gusting left and right. As far as my arms, I will tell you what, at the slow speeds, I'm feeling a little bit right here, but I think with it coming up higher, and again, we're getting that wind blockage up here, it's taken a lot off my arms on this low back road ride test. It's, wow, this is very comfortable. It really is. Again, I still can notice there's a little wind on my helmet, but it's that comfortable wind, right? If I want to go up there and pop my visor open, I'm still getting a little wind coming through my visor. I'm getting that circulation through my helmet, or my, you know, I'm saying my visor, my vent up there. You know, I'm still getting that circulation if I need. Nothing beat me up. This is really nice. Now, of course, you're probably wondering about the height. And again, take into account me at 6 feet. It's right, where is it? It's like right here where the visor. So the last one was right here in the GoPro lens. The stock one was like down to the chin of my helmet. This one is pretty much right to where I would pop my visor up. And I can see over plenty fine. I will say if I'm off-road riding, I would probably catch myself looking through this a little bit right here. Okay, so I just want to test this with a taller windscreen, because again, I don't like looking through a windscreen when we're off-road, and I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. Okay, so no, this is pretty good. Let me get to, I'm going to stand up here for a second. Oh, it's nice. It's taking the wind off my stomach when I stand up. That's nice. But I can tell you, riding off-road, like, I'm not looking down like this. I'm still looking up there. I'm looking at my turn right up there. What's going to be coming up around a turn, that's where I'm looking. And I'm not looking through the windshield like some of those really tall Geevee or Puig ones we've tested. I've used those on my Africa Twin, and some of those are extremely tall. But this one, I would say if you're looking, you know, 5 or so feet in front of you, yeah, you're going to be through the windshield. But the good thing is, even when I'm looking up here, oh, there's a deer up there. Do you see it? Even when I'm looking up here and I'm cresting down, if I want to see some terrain, the cool thing is I'm not getting any, where's that deer? I don't want him popping out on me. Anyways, I'm not getting any warping. The warping starts down here with that cutout. So that's a really nice thing. So again, I'm looking up there, bam, come down here. It's pretty natural. No warping anywhere from the top or in between. Only when you get down there. But again, I don't think you're going to be looking down that sharp. So I think for off-road use, still pretty good. But anyways, let me turn around and let's go get the highway test of the Caponord windshield. One other really nice thing that I'm noticing with this windshield, as you're probably hearing a lot more wind noise, I got my visor up right now, and with all the stock one or even the touring one, even if I had my visor up on the back roads going 40-50 miles an hour, it was still a little bit too much on my face. But this is pretty comfortable. I'm getting a little breeze inside the helmet, but it's nothing excessive by any means. And I honestly like that, again, when I'm riding just on back roads, just to pop my visor up, catch some air, you know. Really nice to be able to do that here. We'll also test it on the highway. Again, when I'm on the highway, I prefer my visor down. But again, really nice to be able to do that here on the back roads. So here we are on the highway with the WRS Caponord windshield, the taller one. And I am noticing a significant difference. Now, of course, on the highway, you're always going to have wind, but I don't feel it beating up on my helmet. I do still feel it on my arms, as I told you over here. I feel it less up on my shoulders than I did on the previous two, but I do still feel it back down here on the lower bit of my arm. But I can just tell you what, like right now, I'm not feeling it really beat up my helmet. It's not crazy. Now, I want to see if I can lift my windshield up. The windshield is up, and yeah, I'm getting a lot more wind in the face. Again, that's not my preferred riding style on the highway, to have the windshield up like that. But what I will tell you is I am feeling a little bit more wind on the left and right rather than directly on me. So I don't know, that's kind of interesting. Is that because it's taller and I'm getting a little bit more buffeting? I just feel it right up here where it breaks off. It's taking that wind and coming into the side of my helmet. So I'm feeling it kind of knock me a little bit left and right. It's not a massive amount by any means. Is it deal breaking? I don't think so. I think the amount of wind that it's taken off directly is significant compared to where it's kind of hitting my helmet on the left and right.
So we tested all 3 windshields, from the stock, the Touring, and the Caponord, but there's one more test I want to do here. Again, talking about my wind deflectors in that wind that was hitting my arm. Again, the divot that is on these WRS windshields is not as significant as the one that's on the Honda, but the one on the Honda, again, I don't know if you guys can see it, they're still very mild. So again, it's not a big, massive difference by any means, and these will still sit in there perfectly fine. And honestly, again, talking talk about the Caponord that we have on here. It doesn't look like one of those big, tall, goofy touring windshields, you know. It still fits the bike very well. All the cutouts fit it fantastic. But I think these little wind deflectors here will kind of give it a little bit more of that finished, kind of, I don't know, aggressive look. So we're going to test these out. But other than looks, I want to see how it performs and how it takes that wind off my arms.
Now, there's one thing interesting I've noticed as far as the windshield with the deflectors. Again, I'm just riding back roads. I'm still going to go test the highway to keep it fair. But something interesting I've noticed with these is my shirt. It doesn't feel like it's being blown up as much. I still got the wind coming across me, like in by my armpits, kind of. But I don't feel it sucking up my shirt a lot as I did before. Like before, I was kind of like, all right, let me sit on my shirt a little bit here, you know. And I think why that is, with the WRS windshield, you got the cutout here, and that'll take that wind and it'll come at you right here. But with these deflectors, it's taking it and you can feel it. It's almost going out there towards, like, you know, the hand guards or the mirrors. It's going out this way. Now, as far as highway results with the Caponord, I'm saying that wrong again. Anyways, the taller windscreen with the deflectors, pretty much same results. I get that occasional kick on the left or right of my helmet. Again, that may just be the weather of the day. It's not a really windy day. Again, just regular breezy. I mean, it's not buffeting me, but the deflectors don't really do anything for that. It's not really taking any more wind off my arms. If anything, maybe I feel less right here. I'm not too sure. The biggest thing I will notice is my shirt doesn't feel like it's being pulled up, which is something I like because I don't want my rear end sticking out all the time when I'm riding. So that's a plus for me. But I think at the end of the day, the deflectors are more or less a cosmetic touch rather than anything.
So here we are back from all of our windshield testing, from the stock, the WRS Touring, the WRS Caponord, the Caponord with the Honda wind deflectors. You heard me talk a lot about these while we were riding, but I want to give you my honest feedback right now, what I think, because I wrote a whole lot more other than just on camera right there, right? Kind of testing them out in different situations. And what I honestly think about these windshields, number one, the asking price of them, I think is very fair. Again, myself, I've purchased many windshields, Givis, Puigs, American Cycle, tons of different ones, stock manufacturer ones, you know, and I really do think the offering price of these is pretty fair. The Caponord, the taller one, is $109. And then the Touring one, the one that's slightly smaller than the Caponord, is $103, I believe, which is not bad because most windshields you're probably looking up around 150, if not more, you know, so really not bad. The wind deflectors, again, that's a Honda thing, about $50, that's up to you. And what I've noticed testing all of them here is, hands down, they blow the stock windshield out of the water. This stock windshield, I just couldn't stand. Maybe if you're doing like aggressive off-road and you just want that small wind block, that's where I'd recommend this. Or if you just, you know, riding around town. But if you want to do anything more than that, I think one of these WRS windshields is a fantastic upgrade. Again, as I stated, the biggest takeaway with the Touring one is, say if you're around 5'8" to 5'10", something like that, I think this one will suit you pretty good. If you're anything above that, I think around 5'11", 6 feet or plus, you're definitely, no questions asked, gonna need the Caponord right here. And it suited pretty good even with off-road, but it definitely took that wind off my head. As far as that bounce I've mentioned from the left to right of my helmet here, it was mild, and it was almost more or less if a car was in front of me where it's kind of disrupting that wind. That's what I noticed from it. Again, it wasn't anything where it's like, oh gosh, I got to get this off. The buffeting's crazy, you know. It really didn't do that. And the Caponord really suited me well. Now, I don't think these windshields are 110% perfect, right? I don't think really much of anything's 100% perfect besides you hitting that subscribe button. That will be pretty perfect. But the one thing I do wish these windshields had from WRS is they have that concave as you've seen going through here. I wish maybe up here it flared out a bit. I don't know. Let me see before I start talking. Yeah, we got room to flare out. So I wish it kind of, the concave was here. I wish it kind of concaved out a little bit. And I think that would kind of reduce a little bit more of that wind on my arms and that little bit of kick we got on the helmet here and there. But that's honestly me nitpicking and complaining. I think for the price, I think they're phenomenal. Again, just taking into account your height, and that's the one that's going to suit you well. And of course, if you're interested in any of these windshields, the links will be right down in the description. And I have no affiliate with them. This is not an affiliate link, so any of my recommendations or my feedback of it, again, they didn't tell me to say anything, and I'm making no money off it. They did send these windshields out for coverage, and I hope I provided good coverage for WRS and of course for you guys. Because again, I think the windshield on your bike, especially the Transalp, is really going to transform it and just make you enjoy your rides that much more. But anyways, thank you so much for coming by for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope I was able to help you out one way or another. And if I was, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next adventure. Bye now.